think you guys are very driven. And honestly, I think you've helped moved Claritive from a place of just purely going out and trying to have these product market fit interviews to helping us feel confident that we probably have something that we can just straight sell.
All right, guys. So we have a client interview today with Nick and Chris from Clarative AI, who we have been working with for a couple of months now. So to kick off this client interview, first of all, could you tell us a little bit about Clarative, your roles, what market and niche you serve?
Yeah, sure. So I'm our CEO. We are a document analytics product that serves mostly procurement teams, legal, and sort of related entities. We solve a number of problems for those specific users, particularly as it pertains to managing their documents.
And I'm Chris. I'm heading up what we call strategy at Claritive, AI strategy at Claritive, which is mostly GTM work. So hunting the market for great potential customers and partners as we try to design something really useful out of a document analytics product. I'm like a serial startup guy, so I've been at multiple startups in the past, building GTM organizations from the ground up, and kind of optimizing and taking existing organizations into kind of next phases of growth. So that's my experience where I come from.
Amazing. So what were you guys doing for GTM lead generation and outbound to book demos and get opportunities before working with us?
For context, we're a seed stage company where we have a handful of design partners, but the phase of the company for us is we are still testing product market fit. We're still actively iterating. We're very much in that kind of design iteration cycle and flow. And so what we were doing previously is understanding exactly who our ICP is, testing different language, testing different personas, et cetera. And so we began just kind of like with our own outreach, mostly the founders, via our networks, setting up very rudimentary sequences and kind of it's warm or lukewarm sort of outbound via our networks or via VCs or partners that we work with. And we had actually tried a couple. We realized that we hit a ceiling pretty quickly just as far as the bandwidth of how we can do that ourselves, how we're building a product, how we're trying to manage a company and do all that at the same time. So we brought on or tried out a couple different kind of outbounding partners, and it was really just kind of like folks that would just set up a sequence for you and, really the like set and forget kind of partners. And that was, obviously that we could do ourselves. That was maybe less interesting. So, we wanted to try something new, and that's how we ended up here.
Gotcha. So when we started working together, like what problems were you guys specifically trying to solve with our collaboration and partnership?
Yeah, I would say kind of the natural extension of that was we're in this iteration phase where we've got like a couple different theses as far as where to kind of attack the market with our product. And with that, there were a couple different ICPs, versions of messaging, promises that we can make, with the product and kind of like solutions that we can provide to different kind of personas. And so we wanted a thought partner in that process and someone to help us with that iteration cycle, much more so than just kind of like building a broad list and just like the spray and pray model. We wanted someone to help us run these experiments, to run a tighter process, to open up new channels, maybe.
To add to that, if I'm really candid, I was looking anybody that we were going to onboard as just like, just folks that were going to do email campaigns for us. And so I was looking at like, I'm going to do my strategic outreach. And we needed a partner that was going to do something at mass, and maybe we can co-design some campaigns and you'll just launch and run them. And so I think that was my expectation. It turned into something way better than that, which is great.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great to hear, actually. What results do you think you have achieved ever since you started working with us?
I think what we've gotten is a partnership where, well, we've gained a partner that's really curious and interested in what we're doing. I feel that you'll want to understand what we do, what makes us tick, and help us find customers that are going to be turned on by that. It's not just okay, we're going to set up this ICP profile and we're going to organize our ICP and we're going to find them, put them on a list, and then blast out some messages to them. It really feels like we're in this together and learning along the way. And I see an interest in and you wanting to get better at that, helping us get better at that. I think that's one thing that we've gotten that's been really great. Another thing is that we're learning a ton. Like I think we're, as we're experimenting, we're not experimenting for experiment's sake, and we're not just turning things off that aren't working and trying something randomly new. It definitely feels like we're building on what we're learning as we go along. But I would say like we're doing well at finding our footing, like and finding out what's working and what's not going to work and what's the right customer, what's the right messaging. And honestly, I think you've helped move Claritive from a place of just purely going out and trying to have these product market fit interviews and feedback interviews to helping us feel confident that we probably have something that we can just straight sell. I think you really helped us so far to like get to that confidence earlier.
And more tactically, and we're going for larger ACVs where kind of mid market meets enterprise. Anybody that's played in that space knows, particularly for enterprise, that it's tough. Like it's a challenging group to sell under, and refining your messaging, getting them to be attentive is hard, and it's also easy to lose them in like the very top of the funnel. And so I would say, really tactically, a thing that I've really appreciated that's hard when you're busy running a company is just, and it sounds so simple, but just being responsive, making sure, when they're requesting more information, or literally when they're just like, when they respond that they're interested in some of what, in an early meeting, just making sure that you respond the same day or within a couple hours. It's like sometimes waiting a day is just like you've lost them, just because it's so hard to hook the attention of some of these people. So it's really, really helpful. It's like, even if I were managing a lot of these leads, one of the most valuable things for me that I've seen is, sure, I can set a sequence. I know how to use tech. I can use Apollo or like some of the related tools, just run a sequence through HubSpot, Apollo Play, whatever, like insert name of tool. But that's like, they're not going to do the inbox management. AI is not to the point where it can actually run this process for you. And so just that, like that inbox management, having you guys as a partner to know like, yeah, this is something we can handle, whatever the inbound question is, you help kind of consolidate some of the signal. And then, there's Preeti just the other day texted me because I was out at a wedding, but there was like a really, really high potential client asking really, really thoughtful questions. And she got a hold of me. She's like, hey, we've got someone on the hook here. This is like a huge logo. Like, help me answer these questions. This is really timely. And I really appreciated that, because it was like, that's the kind of thing that I might have missed. And again, because I was out of the office, and I would have spent 3 days without having seen that note potentially. And we might have lost the client as a result, or at least the potential for that meeting. So it's a lot of those like intangible things, and also just that like reactive responsiveness that I think is super useful.
Adding on to that, I think it's gone in the other direction for us. It's very easy for us to be responsive to you. And I think there's something about like the relationship and the trust between our teams that allows that. Because I've done this before, and it's not always this easy. In fact, it's kind of painful in the past. So it goes both ways.
Good to hear. And talk to us about the quality of the meetings that we have been booking you guys so far, and the opportunities we have been able to generate.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a good part of our pipeline has surfaced with you guys, and it's like they've been great. I think we've had like a couple design partners either emerge as a result of this, or we're in conversations with them to come through, and this is in a pretty short period of time. And so that's been awesome. These are bigger companies, like in the enterprise level, and then as I said, it's like right within that target that we've focused on. Another thing that I've appreciated is it's not that spray and pray like for other folks that we've worked with in the past. There's an incentive, I think, or an adverse incentive, where it's just like, if you're solely focusing on meetings booked, then you're obviously going to widen the scope beyond what your actual buyer is. And then all that does is it actually creates negative value for the startup, because that just means we're fielding a bunch of meetings with non-buyers. And that, of course, is just not what we want. And so I think we have a really, really good deal with you guys, where it's like we don't have that adverse incentive. So it's the meetings that we are getting are they're exactly our buyer. They're exactly what we're trying to target, versus just a bunch of noise of like someone who happened to answer a cold inbound email.
Great. What do you think the overall impact of working with us has been for you guys?
So I'll tell you, for me personally, I really thrive in teams. In a team environment. And I find that competition is the wrong word, but being in it together and kind of leveling each other up and pushing each other to get to, higher levels of performance. That's something that really gets me going and helps me perform well. And I feel like this is kind of woo woo, but like that's been something that I've gotten from personally that I've gotten from our partnership is, feeling like we are a team, we are together. We've each got our individual roles that you're kicking ass, like let me kick ass too. And I feel like there's like a working together and kind of like pushing each other. I see that and it's something that I've never experienced from another vendor in this space. So another partner in this space. So that's something that's been super valuable to me.
Totally.
Amazing. For anyone watching or anyone in your network, how likely are you to recommend others to work with us?
Very
So this is
likely.
where yeah, well this is where it's tough because we don't want you to split your attention too much. We want to capitalize any as much as possible, but yeah, very likely. I've worked with a couple of folks that kind of claim to offer a similar thing, and you guys have been the best that I've seen so far. I won't speak for Chris and his previous experience, but at least in this company,
Yeah, I've done,
best I've seen.
unfortunately, I can say that I've been around the block. So, but I've had these partnerships a bunch of times before, and they've always felt like a necessary evil. And this is definitely, there are results, and there's more to this than just results. And the partnership has been awesome. So it's the best that I've experienced.
The expectation I think for a lot of folks that work with a service provider like such as you guys is obviously just help me with my top of funnel BDR sort of activities, but you guys have gone above and beyond in a bunch of ways. I mentioned Preeti had messaged me when I was out of the office for like a really high value lead and like was able to discern like, hey, we actually need this information, this is timely, it's like worth disrupting you, and I really appreciated that, which is just like using the discerning mind of like what we can handle, what we can't. Another example is we were at a conference and we had a list of potential contacts that like we had missed the opportunity of connecting with there, and so it's like this is like a different channel. It's obviously like not your standard thing, but I was able to pull down that list, didn't have any contact information. You guys enriched it and we built like a sub campaign on just like people that I was like trying to reach out to and connect with at a conference. And so just like little things like that are actually like kind of more strategic and not just like the really broad like let's spray and pray and hope that we get some responses. It's like that's the stuff that actually drives value and valuable meetings. So, and that's something I've appreciated is you guys have just been super reactive and open to like what are other ways that we can try something out or get in front of people, and it's worked.
Nick, do you think that like something I see, and maybe you can validate this, is that, a lot of times we could think about these types of partnerships as really narrow. And I've felt with previous partnerships that there's been a hesitance or it's felt uncomfortable to ask for anything outside of that narrow scope. And I think we see a lot of potential for using your capabilities outside of that narrow scope. And it's been really easy to partner with you on those little things that Nick is describing. And like, hey, this is like a little bit outside, but I know you're the best at it, or you're like the best resource that we have for helping us with that. And it's been very easy. And like, you guys have been so on board to help us with that kind of stuff. Super valuable.
Like the proactive piece where it's like you guys come to us with ideas like, hey, we should test this out, we should target this, having a partner like you guys that can just say like, oh, we actually want to spin up this other experiment, are you guys okay with it, just audit this. It's that sort of stuff that like frees us up to to actually do the lower funnel or the customer success or just all of the other things that are like a burning fire at a startup. It's like actively helping us think about how to grow the business versus just implementing the strategy is obviously super useful too.
I think you're really driven. You're really curious. I see that the scope is not narrow for you. Like you're willing to go outside and like explore things that we haven't thought of. Like you're true. It feels like you're truly curious and truly want to like figure this out with us. I feel like there's buy-in to our company's success, not just we owe you meetings. But I definitely see that you're driven to help us with any insights you were seeing that are not related to generating meetings. And you're giving us ideas because you think that we would be interested, even things that could influence our product development. So our roadmap.
Totally. Yeah. That's the goal because you guys' success is our success, and that's what we get to brag about. So it only makes sense that we deliver the best that we can in any way, like shape or form. So
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Anyway, hate to
We
break, but we have to go to a
we
demo
have
that
to
you
go.
guys source
Yeah.
for us. So
Amazing.
Okay.
that's a great way to end it.
Great.
Get back to work
Amazing.
right now. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great way to go.
Thank you guys
Well,
for
awesome.
this.
Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
Okay.
Good luck
Thank
with
you.
the demo. Yep.
Bye.
Thanks. See you guys.